Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Offices of 24/7. My name is Niharika Valia Bhatnagar, and I'm with you with the area of ABFM, that is Advanced Business and Financial Management. Acha, in the last class, we had started working upon private equity as well as the venture capital. When we talk about these two topics, that is private equity and venture capital, what's the difference between the two? Have you ever thought of it? When we talk about private equity and venture capital, these two terms are different in multiple areas. When we talk about private equity is when we choose the person, ki, sir, you are the one to whom I want to give the shares of my company so that you and I are having the control over the organization. That's sorted. Then came another one. The second one that came was the portion of venture capital. Sir, I have started with my new business. The business has been working well in the last 2 3 years. We had made a good revenue from our business, and now we are looking forward towards further investments. What is your take about it? And if you would like to help us, then in what way you can help us? Can you provide us capital as well as guidance? That is venture capital. So when we have talk about these two, that is equity, the private equity, that is the ownership that we choose privately. Many organizations have now shifted from public companies once they have gathered a huge amount of money. They're not worried about having it. So they are having private equity, and the ones which are growing, they're in the area of seed. They're looking on from the point of view of the beginning of the organization. Then for them, it is venture capital. It is venture capital. ठीक है. Just चलिए, let's begin. So, when we talk about the private equity and venture capital, what are the various things that we are going to talk about? Number one is what are the key distinctions that exist between the two? Matlab, this is what we have just discussed. When we talk about venture capital, it is for small business, while private is for large corporations. There are no distinctions, or private equity focuses on early stage investments, while venture capital are looking forward towards mature, or venture capital involves high risk, high reward, while private equity involves low risk, low reward. When we talk about these people, then there are a few things. Venture capital is actually for small organizations, right? So when we talk about this area, it is for the smaller organizations, while for the larger organizations, they have the area of uh, for the larger organizations, they are always using the other one, that is private equity is best for the larger organizations because they can arrange their funds accordingly from this, you know. That's the difference between the two. Okay, so what do we have in terms of the next question? Okay, uh the next question is about, I think we were done with this area. We've talked about TDCI. There are a few questions that have been repeated. So, what are the some essential contributions made by foreign venture capitalists in India? So this is one of the topics that we haven't done yet. You know, so when we talk about this area, what are some of the essential? We have talked about globalization in the last class. What exactly globalization did in terms of liberalization, privatization, globalization. I also talked about Campa Cola coming to our Campa Cola being our domestic company now is eradicated altogether just because right now there's an existence of MNCs in our country. So when we talk about MNCs coming into our country, did foreign venture capitalists also entered in our country? They have also come to our country. So they have actually entered the organization. They have also entered our country. Now there are foreign institutional investors, there are foreign venture capitalists who are investing the money into our country. But what are some of the essential contributions which have been made by them? When we look at their essential contributions, number one is limited involvement in post financing activities, lack of due diligence in terms of investment decisions, incorporating investment philosophies, rigorous due diligence, and active post financing involvement. When we talk about this, Anna, when we talk about due diligence, they have talked about SOX. I think in the last class, even I talked about SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley Act. When we talk about Sarbanes-Oxley Act, there are certain clauses in SOX which are so difficult to cover. They have the governance in a very tight manner that there is no flexibility. कि अच्छा, in our country, we find loopholes and we utilize them. There, they have made it so I would say so rigid, and at the same time in such an extensive manner कि the chances of frauds are little less, and when the fraud happens, they're definitely at a very wider scale. So this is something which they have definitely done. See, wherever you go, you bring your own country's way of working into the other country. Na? So they had brought their Western investment philosophies and also the due diligence, which is a part of their working, and active post financing involvement. Once you've given money to someone, how do you know that they're using the money properly? Do you know about that? If you don't, then how can you trust them? So it's way better that you keep that particular thing under control and you note down what are you going to do about it. Okay, so that would be the point. Then comes the next point. What type of investment characterized the Indian industry during its formative years? Actually, during the formative years, when we talk about Indian industry, na, after 1947, there are certain things that have happened. If you go through it now, 1947, we there came a point where we had our industrial revolution. India's individual industrial revolution. That is something the Industries Act and everything else, including the Companies Act, came in 1956. So, if I this is from the historical point of view of our country. So, during the formative years, we were all focused towards public sector undertaking. PSUs were given a lot of importance. They were all the way given investments, grants, subsidies, and whatnot. Then, what type of investments characterized that at that point of time? Was it the large scale private equity investments, venture capital style investments in small enterprises, or investment exclusively in matured companies or government funded projects? What was the thing that was happening at that point of time? See, PSUs and all were definitely there, but what about the other organizations in the Indian industry? There are other companies which existed while the PSUs were existing. At that point of time, the private players didn't had that much money. That is the basic reason that government had to take over. If you go through that particular area, all the infrastructure was built by the government, the bridges and everything else that was maintained by the government, dams and all. Ultimately, it was more towards the government. Reason was the venture capital style investments were at that point of time. The private players were smaller, so they were small enterprises in early stages of development. They were growing. They were kids at that point of time. When Britishers left, we definitely were India was definitely something which it was like a major part of the resources were taken, people were exploited, people were weak, there was less funding for the people. So ultimately, the players were definitely small at that point of time. So when we look at the answer, it is venture capital style investments in small enterprises because nobody had that much of funding other than the government at that point of time who would give money to enhance the businesses further. Okay. Acha, now is why have investments in private equity become more widespread in India in the last 10 years, right? If I look at the last 10 years now, matlab I think after 1990s, if you go through it, uh, from 1990s only you will realize that after 1991, the new economic policy ultimately that was brought by the country, which was ultimately the last resort that we were left with. So when that particular thing happened, um, India had to open up. India had to allow foreign direct investments, foreign institutional investors, which came into our country at that point of time as well. Slowly and steadily, we have allowed all those investments to be there. So now these investments exist. So what is it that they are having now? Greater ease in selling small and early stage investments, then desire for fund managers to handle smaller portfolios, difficulty in managing larger pools of capital without increasing this number of companies in portfolio, or lack of interest from large private equity companies. Actually, let me tell you one thing. Uh, we are uh, we are a country of around 1.5 billion people. Uh, More than 17-18% of the entire world population lives in our country. At this point of time, even if I say 1,000 people, matlab, one chunk of the 1.5 billion people is involved in investing, do you really think that would be smaller? Then there is no greater reason small selling small and early stage investments. This has not really happened. Desire for fund managers to handle smaller portfolios. Think about it. I am a businessman and I am saying ki nahi, nahi, I work only on small scale. I won't work on large scale. That doesn't make sense. So you will never find a fund manager saying ki Bhagwan, I wish I have a smaller portfolio. He will always be like, if I'm managing this much portfolio, I wish to handle more in terms of portfolios. So lack of interest from large equity, private equity companies, it's like you are hungry, you need food, but you are denying it. Would you really do that? No. You, whatever you get at this point, when we are hungry now, at that point of time we would eat even those vegetables or those pulses or any of those dishes which we just don't like at all. That's because that's the only thing that we are having. Hunger brings it. So the private equity firms cannot be cribbing about the fact that nahi, nahi, I work only on large firms. I don't work on small firms. Whatever money is coming in, every single penny they are putting in the share market. They are putting it in the market altogether, securities market, and growing further. So it just doesn't make sense that they will come up and say, nah, I don't have interest in it. So one particular thing is definitely there. If we are using elimination method, A, B, and D doesn't make sense, while C makes pure sense. Difficult managing larger pools of capital without increasing the number of companies in portfolio. Now, what do you mean by portfolio? Warren Buffett had said it once. Never put all your eggs in one basket. Can you put everything in one basket? Can you really do that? Think about it. If you're putting all the eggs in one basket and that basket falls, all the eggs are gone. So that means when you are having securities, why to put it in all one organization? Split it up into different organizations. If one of them, even if this one falls, you have others which would work out for you, and ultimately it would balance out your income. So basically, in terms of larger pools, yes, you cannot keep the larger amount into one company. So if you would see the portfolios now, you will see that, for example, I was looking at a portfolio a few days back. So in that particular portfolio, what I saw was shares of the company. They were divided into different areas. Ki, acha, if I talk about the shares of a company, na, they were divided. A part of it was invested in banking, a part of it was invested in FMCG, fast moving consumer goods. So what is happening? Fast moving consumer goods are always required. Even when COVID was there, na, toothbrush, toothpaste was still required. Even if COVID was there, the entire world was sitting in their homes, but they required soaps. So the basic things, the fast moving consumer goods are always required. So there is an investment there, there is an investment in the banking. So this is how you split up in among the various sectors from which the company can earn and give it to their investors. So that's one of the things. So obviously you have to think about larger pools of capital would be praying कि भगवान और पैसा आए और हम और पैसा लगाएं. It is not going to be easier to them. It is going to be more and more difficult because handling 10 rupees in your pocket is absolutely fine. But what if I give you 1 lakh rupees in terms of 500 rupee notes? It's such a big bundle. Where would you keep it and how do you manage it? That is, C, difficulty in managing larger pools of capital without increasing the number of companies. This is a problem. But this is something which is existing as well. Okay? Here comes the next question. What is one reason for the shift away from investments in small and early stage companies? Why are we moving away from small and early stage companies? Actually, now early stage companies are dicey. That's what I feel. कि if you'll see that many organizations are like, Acha, we have to keep freshers, while everybody is a fresher at one point of time. But when you are keeping them, then you are like, "Ki, Arey, why do I have to keep freshers?" Same thing happens with the investments. When you are parting from the investment which is small and early stage, who would buy it? If I give you a raw cake and I say, ki, sir, you can prepare the cake on your own now. Further, you just have to heat it up twice or thrice. Or, matlab, for example, I have half cooked the cake and right now, roughly 3 to 4 minutes an oven is still required. So what I'll do is I'll just tell you, ki, last 3 4 minutes, you buy it, you take it to your place and then do it. You'll be like, what? That doesn't make sense. Same thing happens with the small and early stage businesses. These small and early stage businesses are basically growing. Why would someone buy something which is raw? Till the time they don't see something in terms of the potential in that organization, they will not put an effort. So increasing difficulty in obtaining venture capital funding, वैसे ऐसा नहीं हो रहा. Venture capital funding has now been available at a larger amount even. Challenges in selling such investments. There are major challenges in selling these investments. Lack of interest from foreign investors and decreased risk appetite among the fund managers. The risk appetite has definitely gone down in terms of the working there. Ki, sir, the point is that nobody wants to take so much of risk. So, what is the reason? But I would say if the appetite of the fund managers will decline, ultimately the return will also decline. So I think fund managers would like to reduce the risk, but by adding more into the portfolio, not by parting away from some small people who have the potential. So again, I would say fourth one is definitely not the answer. Lack of foreign investors, that can just not happen. India has been growing at a very good price. So if we are going good, the people are going to support us. And then it's challenging in selling such investments. This is the only problem. Rest everything else is not a bigger problem. The problem is that it is very difficult to sell such investments. Okay? The problem is selling of these investments. Acha. Here comes the next question, everyone. It says, why do the venture capitalists exist as an alternative to traditional lending? But the traditional lending was, you show me your net worth. You show me that you have the capability and credibility to pay me back. Only then I can give you money. Think about it. Even to get loan, you need money. If you have the ability to pay back, only then someone will give you money. So why do venture capitalists exist as an alternative to traditional banking? To compete with banks in offering lower rate of interest, to provide financing only to companies with tangible assets, to address high risk environment with traditional institutions avoid, and then to discourage the establishment of new enterprises. With the answer. To compete with banks in offering lower rate. Venture capitalists are not existing just to compete with banks. Their aim is not to compete with the banks. Somehow they are being supportive towards the financing because sometimes organizations are not able to generate funds because of lack of securities and all. So banks sometimes are totally clear about it that we are not providing the loans. Then venture capitalist hops in. Then to provide in financing only to companies with tangible assets. So with tangible assets, this doesn't happen because there are financial companies which have so many intangible assets only. Even in terms of IT industry, you will find many assets which are intangible. So that should also be considered. So first two are definitely out. Number A out, number B out. To address the high risk environment that traditional financial institutions avoid. See, traditional financial institutions are basically risk averse. They don't want to give so much of loans. They don't want that much of loans given to a risk area, because again, banks have been pressurized to a great extent. In any bank, wherever you see an NPA, okay, non-performing assets, then what will happen? They are pressurized to great extent that they will never give loan to anyone whom they feel there is a potential, but there is a risk that pata nahi, will they recover the money or not. So they will never be happy with the fact that they are giving money to someone who does not have the capability to pay back. So that is something the venture capitalist will come back. You have a potential now. You have proved your business earlier now. Give it to me. I'll help you out. That is the thought process of a venture capitalist. So in this case, can I say they take up the high risk, high reward area, while the traditional banking is like, I'm giving you a loan, pay me back, and that's it. So this is what you will find. So this is not to discourage the establishment of new enterprises. All these small organizations are existing because of traditional banking as well as venture capitalists. If both of these are discouraging, then what's the purpose of having any of these altogether? You know, to address the high risk environment that traditional financial institutions avoid. Okay, just a moment. Chaliए, I think yes, this is where I would like to end the particular area of startup equity, but private equity as well as the venture capitalist. But before I end my session, everyone, our revision batches have started, right? And the ABFM revision is going to start from 3rd of December, and it would be till 8th as we have our exam on 9th. So we'll be meeting in our classes there, but Chaliए, let's look at our website first as well. Let me show you what exactly the batches are there for ABFM. And at the same time, if you haven't joined the Telegram channel, go ahead and check it out. JIIB exam 2023, Niharika ma'am. You will find it on Telegram. I've been sharing the marathons and the other details on that particular area. Sorry, this is CAIIB exam 2023, Niharika ma'am. Okay. This is the name of the Telegram group. I am sharing all the details of my marathon classes there, as well as the sometimes I share the PDFs of these classes as well. And anybody who's a part of the paid classes, they get all the intimations, and overall you get it twice. The system software and everything else is already providing you. We just give you another level support. Ki, ma'am, I have taken up this particular topic for today, so you can definitely come and attend it live. Right. So let me tell you what's the benefit of our courses. Uh, you just have to go onto our website, that is www.adda247.com. That's the name of our website. You just have to go onto that area, go onto the area of JIB and CIB. CIB November 2023. Here is our Mahapack available. If you're looking forward towards Mahapack, preparing for next year, this is a win-win situation. And if you are preparing and you're looking forward towards revision batches, you have done it once, because in the revision batch, as you know, it would be done in a quicker manner, है ना? So you can join our CIB Power Pack revision batch. The revision batch has started from 1st of November itself, right? My examination would be on 9th. ABFM is going to be on 9th. So we'll be meeting that way. Acha, we have enough time to cover it up. Now there are 500 hours of online classes. Then test series is available. Ebooks is available, along with videos are also available for your studies. Recorded videos are given to you, so that if you have any doubts, you can go through that specific topic in that specific video. What you need to do is click on the area of buy now. You can use the code Y541 and apply it. 81% discount is available, which is currently limited in a very limited area. I would say it is available. So what you can do is, for limited time it is available, so you should buy it as early as possible. Use the code Y541 and then use app, because 1% extra discount is available if you're using our app. So it would be available for 2,999.80, right? And other than the Power Pack batch, if you are looking forward towards next year and you are preparing with me, then what you can do is you can take up our Mahapack for CIB. Double validity is going on. Buy for 6 months, you get it for 12. Buy it for 12 months, you get it for 24. Right? So all these things are available. 3 month pack is also 3 month validity is also available. Interactive classes are there. Both English medium as well as bilingual batches, both are opened up for you. Then at the same time in this area, you're not only getting this, you're getting 10 plus hours of the mini marathons, then 5 plus hours of mega marathons. Then also, other than this, you will be getting test series, mock test, practice papers, along with that doubt classes of our classes, and revision batch would be available. Previous batches which is already done with that would be available, as well as the upcoming whatever batches we are having in CIB. Everything is available to you in terms if you buy the CIB Mahapack 2.0. If you're purchasing it, you just have to click on the bike now, use the code Y541 and apply it, and you will get it for 6499, and that too for 12 months, 6 months plus double validity. That is, it would be available for 12 months. So if you're looking forward to it, then hurry up. The 81% discount and double validity is there for a very limited period. So go ahead and check it out. So we'll be meeting tomorrow at the same time, 9:30 a.m. So stay tuned.